Joining me now, the lawyer representing Abrego Garcia and his family, Simon Sandoval Moschenberg, head of litigation at Murray Osorio. Thanks so much for being with us. So the administration is now arguing to the Supreme Court that the midnight deadline is arbitrary and impossible. They say U.S. negotiations with a foreign sovereign should not put a judicially mandated clock on it, least of all when it comes to matters of terrorism and national security. What's your response to that?
I don't think there's anyone in this country who genuinely believes that if we didn't just pick up the phone and make a good faith phone call, that we couldn't get him back within a day or two. I mean, the connections between our government and the government of El Salvador when it comes to these deportations to this prison, they put Kristi Noem inside the walls of the prison and they got her back out. They can get him back out. We wouldn't have to be imposing judicial deadlines if they just acted in good faith. It's ridiculous that they're taking this case up to the Supreme Court. This is one guy. They made a mistake. They need to set it right.
But given that the administration is asking for this stay, how likely do you think it is your client will return tonight? Have you gotten any indication at all he's on the move back to the U.S.?
No, they have not handled this matter in good faith. I mean, look, I've handled wrongful deportations before. It happens from time to time. And in every other such case, when we've brought it to their attention, they've immediately set the wheels in motion to try to fix it and get the person back. In this case, you know, we filed this case. We gave them over a week before we raised any attention to it, and they just haven't lifted a finger. Their position here is we're not going to do anything unless we're ordered to do something. And then once they were ordered to do something, their position is, well, you can't order us to do anything if we don't want to do anything. It's entirely circular.
So let's say the Supreme Court does not get involved. What's your plan if at 12:01 you haven't heard anything?
At that point, we go back to Judge Zinnes and we say, look, Judge, your order was very clear. They didn't follow it. You need to begin enforcing it with the full power of the court. I mean, if they start acting in good faith, in a reasonable manner, of course we're going to be reasonable with them. Of course we're going to act in good faith with them. But to date, there's been not so much as one phone call.
One of the things the judge said was that the prison your client is in, and this has been widely reported, is one of the most dangerous prisons in the Western Hemisphere. So I wonder if you or your client's family have been able to be in touch with him at all or have any real indication of how he's doing.
No, that's one of the main human rights abuses that occurs in this prison, is that the prisoners are held incommunicado. His wife actually hired a lawyer in El Salvador to try to do a jail visit with him, to try to even establish a confidential jail phone call. And that lawyer so far has had no success.
The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, was asked on Fox yesterday about the government's claim that your client is a member of MS-13. And here's her response.
The best thing to do is to get these people out of our country. And when that first plane left and landed in El Salvador, there were 261 reasons why Americans were safer. We have to look out for the safety of our country first and foremost, and that is Donald Trump's directive, and we're going to continue to do that.
Seen any evidence that he's done something wrong, that they have reason to hold him, even if he came back? Do you have reason to believe he wouldn't be put in detention?
No. I mean, the judge in Maryland at the start of the hearing, the very first thing she said was, look, there's been a lot of noise here. I'm going to decide this case based on the evidence in the record. And there isn't any. There simply isn't any. Right. I mean, but you know, in addition, if they really think that he's committed crimes against the United States, what do we do with people who are in a foreign country who've committed crimes against the United States? We extradite them back to the United States. We do this with Mexican cartel leaders. We do this with Colombian drug lords, right? Bring him back to face trial for the crimes y'all say he committed. We'll face that head on.